As I get older, I've got this desire to try and learn. So I've put together, I was trying to figure out, there's caution tape here. And there's caution tape because the wire is almost on the ground. I'm gonna walk up to the next block. I'm not gonna walk by that. But so the caution, if that's a metaphor, to use the caution tape, the caution is learn from others. Yeah, we can make our mistakes. That's the best way to learn, but mistakes are painful. Mistakes hurt. Mistakes are costly. I've put together a list from older, wiser people. Just 10 bits of wisdom. All right, let's just jump into these, okay? The first rule, and I think I've talked about this in other videos. If not, I want to put this together in a video. No one is coming to save you. And this is just kind of an example, okay? I'm not trying to, this is a personal thing that happened to me. I remember when I was young, really young. It's kind of a vivid memory for me. I was 4, 5, and I remember my mother and her friend, we went to a lake to go swimming. And I'm lost. We went to a lake to go swimming. And my mom just lets me in the water, let me go. And I remember I'm young. I remember as a kid falling in the water and the wave kind of taking me out and underwater. And I remember vividly underwater, sucking in water and looking up, and I could see the shadow of my mother looking the other way, thinking I'm gonna drown. And remember, this is whatever, 1 foot of water, whatever it is. I don't know. I don't remember how deep it was. It felt like it was, it felt like I was 100 feet under, but I wasn't. But I remember thinking to myself, Scott, don't panic. Okay, you got to figure this out on your own. You got to save yourself. And while that's a little dramatic, it's real. It happened to me. And it was a lesson for me that I have to learn to figure it out on my own, to save myself. Even though I had a loving mother, she's going to make mistakes. She's not going to pay attention every 2 seconds. And I've got to pay attention and take care of myself. And the truth is, you got to do the same. You got to watch yourself. Nobody is coming for you. Okay? That's the first lesson. Okay, rule number 2. And this is a hard reality, and I don't mean to give you hard realities, but the truth is, most people don't care. And some want you to fail. I'm going to try and walk down here, but these steps are bad. I don't know if you can see. But most people, they don't care. And many of them, for whatever sick reason, want you to fail. And people are often too busy. Most of them pay attention to themselves. Most people, they'll give you advice to help you. They won't listen to advice. Most people are too busy really with themselves to worry about you, but you'll obviously find people that, this is cool. I'm going to try and sit here. I'm going to sit here. Yes, I'm going to rest. I'm supposed to be walking and talking, but I'm going to rest. I'm going to sit down even if it's wet, just for the scenery. This is great scenery. Okay. Again, most people really don't care. Most people are worried about themselves. So focus on you. Don't focus on what others think about you. That's the key. All right, number 3. Here's the third of 10. And this is a good This is a very good bit of wisdom from an older person. Energy is currency. Energy is currency. And many people focus their energy on things that they probably shouldn't. We all do this. We focus things that don't matter. You know, stress. We get stressed about things. And stress is often a reaction, how we react to certain things. We don't have to react that way. We have to control our actions and reactions. You know, saying yes. Sometimes I have a problem saying yes to too many things. But I've learned, now that I'm older, I'm good at saying no. I can say no. I know what my boundaries are. It took me forever to learn what my boundaries are. And the truth is, you really got to ask yourself, it's a great point. Like, energy is currency. Like, first of all, time and energy. We only have limited time and energy. What are we using them for? And you've got to think to yourself, is it worth my energy? And if not, is it worth my time? Like, we all have time, again, limited time. What are we going to invest that time in? Good point. Okay, number 4, your habits predict your future. Your habits predict your future. Wow. And this is true. Like, most people are waiting for motivation. And motivation is kind of like caffeine. It's short. It's very limited. It wears off. Motivation wears off really quickly. Habits are kind of autopilot. What do you do by habit? And as I'm researching this story and these bits, there are times that I want to create a new habit or end a habit. And I did some research on habits. And did you know you can create a new habit? Sometimes it takes 30 days. Sometimes it takes 60 days. But what I've been able to research, that if you do something for 90 days, it is then a habit. And you know how habits are hard to break? Well, that's hard to break after a while. And you can break a habit. I've also researched that. How do you break a habit? It's the same process. Some habits are harder to break than others, but you can create a new habit. And your habits predict the future. Are you starting a habit where you're walking? And I'm not walking, but are you trying to lose weight? Are you trying to improve your health? Are you trying to improve your knowledge? And this, believe this or not, this walk and talk helps my health, helps my knowledge. I research a lot of subjects that I just don't talk about, but it gives me the opportunity to learn, to grow. I was digging into something the other day and went down a rabbit trail for days and tough research and went, I'm never going to talk about this on a video, but it really helped me understand, you know, inflation and financial matters. We could talk about the remnants of that, but it helps me. I like creating new habits. It makes it hard. It's a challenge, but you know, audit your daily habits. Are they helping you grow, or are they holding you back? And again, 90 days. If you put 90 days into something consistently, and again, it's consistency, and that's what I'm trying to do in these videos, is put these out with consistency. I'm trying to do them 3 times a week. I'm trying to do Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Now, this video may or may not come back out on a Monday, but I'm trying to do 3 a week, and I'd like to get that up to 5 a week. I have others I put together that I just scrap, but consistency. I want to make this a habit. All right, number 5, you can't change people. And I don't know who said this and where I got this rule, but at first I'm like, yes, you can change people. And then I really thought about this. There's a couple people that I wanted to help, really. It's not about me changing them. It's about me helping them. And I finally came to the reality that I'm not going to change them. They are who they are. Like, they really are. The only thing I can do is, you know, somebody, somewhere I read, said you can model greatness, but you can't force it on someone. So the best I can do is try to be an example. I just try to be an example. So I'm trying to improve myself. This is one thing I say. Spend so much time at the improvement of yourself that you don't have time to criticize others. So don't be critical of them. Focus on you, improving you. Be that example. And I'm not saying you have to be an example of greatness, but just improve yourself. Because the truth is, if you're trying to help somebody, which is usually it ends up in disaster, you're going to end up burnt out. You're going to end up emotionally and spiritually really burnt out on that other person. Focus on yourself. I'm not telling you this to be selfish. I'm just telling you, spend your time wisely. We don't have that much time. All right, number 6, and this is one I need to learn and I need to make it a habit of, and I'm saying this live on camera, and I'm going to make a commitment to do this. But the 6th word of advice is silence is power. Yes, I've got to pause when I say that. Silence is power, and it's true. Silence creates space. And space is where people do their best thinking. This is a hard one. This is a hard one because I grew up in a family that are used to quick comebacks, used to fighting, scrapping. But the truth is, don't argue with people that are committed to misunderstanding you. Just silence. And I'm slowly learning. I'm still not good at this. Again, I need to work on this. The silence is power rule. That is great advice. Don't spend as much time arguing with people as I did. Just listen to their perspective. And my thought is, say, hey, that's an interesting perspective. I never thought of it that way. Instead of arguing with them. Excuse me. I grew up in a family that wanted to argue with people. I don't know what other way to say it. Silence is power. And on that, I'm just going to keep quiet. So number 7, let's jump into number 7. Not everyone deserves access. So not everyone deserves access. Boundaries aren't there just to protect you. They're there to define you. So the person that had this advice was right. You got to have boundaries. Before, I never had boundaries. I'm open to anybody hearing everything and listening. I'll listen. I'm learning to listen. But now boundaries. No, I'm not doing that. Not going to do that. I'm not doing that. I'm not interested in that. Thank you very much, but I'm not interested. Now I got to learn how to say that nicely. My wife says it's my tone. I got to learn how to work on my tone and being quieter. But boundaries are there to protect you. You know, the truth is, who you allow in is the person that you allow to shape your identity. That person that you allow into your time is the person you allow to shape your identity. And don't allow other people to shape your identity. Be you. Shape yourself. Be tough. Be whatever, but be firm. All right, let's go on to number 8. So comfort is the energy of growth. Growth often happens in tension, but if there's no tension, there's no change. You really grow by the problems you endure and the things you overcome. That's interesting. And I just did the research, put this down, looked this up, but I haven't dug into this. So we're learning this together. Growth happens in tension, and if there's no tension, there's no change. You only get better, thinking this out loud, you only get better, you only grow, like if you lift weights, you struggle, you suffer, you endure pain, and you grow from that. Your muscles grow from that. That's interesting. I think that's good. Everything you want is behind an uncomfortable decision. Everything you want is behind one uncomfortable decision. Let me say that again. Everything you want is behind one uncomfortable decision. So you got to make an uncomfortable decision. You got to get out of your comfort zone. That's what if you're in your comfort zone, you'll never grow. You'll never become better. You'll never get that whatever you want. You'll never grow a relationship. Sometimes I have found that sometimes asking the tough questions up front makes the whole relationship or whole conversation much easier. State the obvious. And we can talk about negotiation in another video, but that's kind of a rule I have for negotiation. All right, rule number 9, and this is true. The game is 90% mental. Your mind is the control panel. If it's weak, everything else breaks. It's true. The game is 90%, now I'm getting sore sitting. The game is 90% mental. It's true. And most of the time, we're the ones holding ourselves back mentally. We think we can't do it. If you say that, you're right. You won't be able to do it. So how do you change that? You train your thoughts, not your feed. We're often learning from what is on our Instagram or social media feed. We need to train our thoughts. Don't let AI, I talked about AI in another video. Don't let AI tell you what to do, what you like. You know, be part of the resistance, talking about a Star Wars quote. Be part of the resistance. Don't let it control you. You control your thoughts. You're in charge of your thoughts. And what you think is probably what's going to happen. All right, rule number 10. We finally hit number 10. Time is the ultimate flex. You have the opportunity to control your time. To control, this is a gazebo. They must do concerts here. Yes, they do, because there's seating right here. You can see that. So time is the ultimate flex. And I learned this one. I'm walking downstairs. I learned this one in business. So a couple years ago, I was working for a startup company, and I had to build out, from a recruiting perspective, I had to build out the company people-wise around the globe. And I had a short time to do it in my head. Now, they gave me time to do it, and I thought, no, I'm going to do this quicker. But then in my head, I calculated, I don't have much time. How do I do this? How do I figure this out? And you may or may not like this guy, but Elon Musk was the CEO of a couple companies. And I kind of was digging into how did he manage his time? Because I needed to manage my time better. If I was going to be successful in this job and build out this company, and I learned that he had 15-minute meetings, and if you didn't think you'd get relevance out of the meeting, that you were welcome to not join the meeting. Like, if it wasn't worth your time, don't go to the meeting. So I started putting together 15-minute meetings, and at first it was a shock. It was a shock for executives that I'd give them only 15 minutes. I'd give them the agenda up front. I told them, here's what I'd like to accomplish. You know, tell me what you want to accomplish in this meeting. You know, we all had an opportunity to talk, and they thought it was ridiculous until they went to one or two of my meetings. And then they went, Scott's meetings are the most productive meetings I've ever seen. Like, they came from a culture where they had 2-hour meetings. I didn't have 2 hours to waste every day on one little subject. Like, I wanted to be decisive. I wanted to be actionable. You know, action trumps everything else. It does. But the truth is, time is the ultimate flex. What are you spending your time on? What are you doing with your time? All right. Here's what no one tells you about most people. Most people don't change because they're afraid to lose their identity. They've built around pain, suffering, complaining. But if you want to level up your life, you need to change. You need to become someone that you want. What's your desire? You can accomplish anything you want. These 10 items aren't rules. They're invitations. They show up differently. They show you how to live your life, how to grow, how to expand, how to learn, to become you. You know, we're capable of so much more than we think. You just have to learn how to grow, how to control your time, how to spend how to be quiet, how to listen. These are all things that I'm learning too. But if you made it to the end, and not most people have, that says something about you. You've got some endurance. Now, here's the motivation. Now go and live your life. Use these bits of wisdom and live your life and get ready to level up. And I'll be here in the next one. Thanks for watching.